Heat Illness by Stephanie Manriquez.
And Arturo Martinez.
So, Arturo, what is heat illness?
Well, heat illness happens in a hot, humid climate and in places where the temperature is intensely hot. And for example, the football players when they are wearing heavy equipment.
That's very interesting. So, what are the types of heat illness?
There's heat stroke,
Heat exhaustion,
heat syncope,
and heat cramps.
So what is heat stroke?
Well, heat stroke is unconsciousness and it's caused by a body temperature failure by not re-regulating. Some symptoms are headaches, nauseous, and weakening in muscles.
And how is heat stroke prevented and treated?
Well, you want to try to be hydrated, wear loose clothing, and make sure you get enough sleep. Some treatments, if this happens, is remove all the equipment and clothing and try to cool the athlete by water and ice. So, Arturo, what is heat exhaustion?
Well, heat exhaustion is basically when you cannot continue the practice, and some symptoms are fatigue, dizziness, heavy sweating, and pale skin.
So, what are some treatment and how can you prevent it?
Well, to prevent it, you can wear loose clothing, drink fluids, limit your hot temperatures, and you can treat it by rotating ice towels or ice bags. So, Stephanie, what is heat syncope?
Well, heat syncope is fainting in high temperatures. When you have too much exposure to the heat, some symptoms is you just feel really weak, you lose your vision, and you just have weak muscles.
And how is this prevented and treated?
Well, you can prevent it by staying hydrated. Make sure you drink a lot of water throughout the day. Some treatment is that the athlete to be in a shaded and cool area so it decreases their body temperatures. So, Arturo, what are heat cramps?
Well, heat cramps are basically muscle spasms that result from a loss of salt and water and can occur to people who sweat a lot during the day, and some symptoms are muscle pain or spasms.
That's very interesting. So how can you prevent it and be treated?
Well, you can prevent heat cramps by having a good fluid balance, and it can be treated by sitting in a cool place or drinking any type of sports beverage.
That's nice. So these are examples and pictures of the different types of heat illness. For example, this one is
Heat stroke. And this is a picture of heat exhaustion. Heat syncope.
and this is heat cramps. How can we be educated?
Well, as parents, before your child plays any sport, he or she has to have an exam done. And make sure to tell your child's coach about any heat illness history. And for coaches, make sure to be aware of the temperature outside and maintain the athletes hydrated throughout the practice.
That's really good to know. I hope my coaches know about this. Some of the references are emergency.gov and nata.org.
Stephanie, what are some hot weather tips?
Well, the number one is adjusting to your game length and practice. Make sure you know your environmental conditions, for example, the temperature and the humidity. The number one is also Remember to drink lots of fluid and water to be hydrated.
So, what are some hydration guidelines?
Well, number one are always fluids. Well, number two is remember to stay hydrated before and after the game. It's very important to stay hydrated even after the game. And number three is make sure you have the appropriate fluids during practices. Make sure you talk to your coach about it. And also, make sure you have the right amount of salt in your body, including sports drinks over water. In memory of Corey Stringer, who died of heat illness.
He died in Minnesota.
This can occur anywhere. Even though the northern states are not used to the heat, it can happen to them without using the right guidelines.
And even big, healthy athletes can suffer heat illness.
Who does it affect? It can affect through anyone really. It can affect people who don't know much about heat illness. Mainly, it can occur in younger or older people. This is why we should educate everyone about heat illness, to learn the guidelines and to know what to do.